Hey there guys, how's it going, and welcome to a video where I'm going to be giving you 25 tips for ARK Survival Evolved. Now these tips are mainly useful for people who are going to be lower levels, say under around level 10, however some of these tips are still going to be useful to people who have played a lot of the game and are much higher ranks. Now bear in mind that this game at the moment is being updated almost daily, so if you're watching this video in the future some of these things might not be as relevant, but if they're not I'll try and add annotations on the screen so you can know if there's any information that has changed. So bear in mind this video was made on the 5th of June 2015. I also want to say I'm going to be giving away a copy of this game to one lucky viewer. There's a giveaway link in the description of the video at the top there. Very easy to enter giveaway, and I'll be choosing one of you lucky guys at random to win a copy of this game. Now this is quite an in-depth video with lots of tips in here, so without any further ado, let's get stuck into it. So first thing to do is get your graphic settings right. This game can be a lot more enjoyable if you are getting a decent frame rate out of it, and although they're working on optimizing the game at the moment, these are the settings I'm using right now to get 45 to 50 FPS most of the time. Bear in mind if you're on a very busy server like one of the official ones, that can affect the frame rate as well. It kind of looks a little bit laggy because so many people are trying to connect. So the main things that you want to have on low if you want to get the best performance are anti-aliasing, sky quality and ground clutter. View distance as well is kind of important. Those are the main things I found that if you put them on high, they really chug the frame rate, so stick those on low. The others you can generally play around with. I like having general shadows and terrain shadows on low because I think the shadows actually look better when they're on low. They're kind of softer and less harsh. I really like that look, and I found that the ambient occlusion options didn't really make a difference to me. Maybe that's because I'm on a high-end graphics card, but like I say, those are the ones you want to focus on if you want to get the best frame rate possible. Tip number 2 is to try and join a community server. There are lots of community servers out there, and there are a lot of ARK communities who are looking for new members who want to play properly, or are just looking for people who are more serious about the game. So maybe if you don't know where to go to the subreddit, which is Play ARK. Maybe go to Twitch and see any Twitch broadcasters that have got servers going on. Also, I tend to find that servers that are custom run or passworded have better FPS on as well, because there's less people trying to connect to them, and there's less people doing things on them, so they run much better. And in general I find it's a better experience. Now if you get the option to choose your spawn location, if you're going to be a fresh level character, I highly recommend choosing a southern coast spawn. If you spawn up in the north, there are a lot of dangerous animals up there. There's the saber-toothed tigers, there's the mammoths, there's those giant bird things, and on the south coast there's a lot less of that kind of thing, so you're much safer going on there. Maybe the east or the west, but in general if you're a fresh spawn you probably want to spawn on the south coast. Another tip is to make sure that you use the OBLIX for navigation. These are the giant spires in the sky that emanate a coloured light from them. You've got green, blue, orange, amongst others. I found these very, very easy. I'm really glad they put them in the game, because not obviously are they adding to the end game element. If you go over there, they're kind of special if you see what you have to put in them to make something happen, but they're very easy to get towards from most coasts. You can see the green obelisk from the south and the west coast, and that's where I've been building with my friends. So any of my friends that join the server, if I tell them to come find me, I just say meet me at the green obelisk. It's pretty easy to find, so make sure you use those for easy navigation. So the next tip is, what should you be looking to do as soon as you spawn into the world? First thing you want to do is go run around and grab some stones from the beach. They should be on every beach in the game. Hit a tree with your fist to get thatch and wood. Make a pick using that. Then with the pick, go get some flint from a stone and then make an axe. So a very useful tip is to know which tool to use to get the maximum amount of materials you're getting from the resource that you're hitting with it. So the pick is used to get the secondary resource from whatever you're hitting, and the axe is used to get the primary one. So for example, an axe will get you more wood from a tree than thatch, but a pick will get you more thatch from the tree than wood. Also the dinos, with the axe you'll get more hide than meat, and obviously with the pick you'll get more meat than hide. And when it comes to stone, the axe will get you more stone than flint, and when it comes to the pick will get you more flint than stone. So it's useful knowing that if you want to get a specific resource, that you'll make sure you're hitting it with the right thing so you can get that resource that you want as soon as possible. Tip number 7 is to place your tools in the right order in your toolbar. Place your tools in the hotbar in the same order every single time you play. This will make it quick and easy to switch to whatever you want to use, especially after been playing for a while. Now personally, I like to have my pick on number 1, torch on 2, axe on 3, spear on 4, or maybe a bow later on in the game. I like to have my stim berries on 5, catapult on 6, water skins on 6 and 7, and maybe the campfire on 8, and leave the rest spare for any building materials that you're using. But on the first few ones, you want to be having all the stuff that you use all the time, and just always put them in the same order. It's going to make it very quick to switch to things, and after a while it's going to become second nature. Now stim berries are very useful and something that I haven't seen many people using, and they give your character a stamina boost if you eat them at a loss of a little bit of hydration. Now equip them on your toolbar. Normally number 5 is how I like to do it, and they can be very handy if you run out of stamina, especially before you go into the water. You want to make sure you have plenty of stamina so you don't drown, and if you need to get into the water quickly but you've got no stamina, just press number 5 if you've got your stim berries on number 5, and it will boost your stamina up. Also, when running away from dinos or enemy players, if you've got 30 stim berries and someone tries to chase you, they'll have no idea why you can just keep on sprinting forever and they keep having to slow down. So stim berries, very, very useful. I'm not sure quite yet because we're in the early stages of the game, but maybe you'll be able to make a more potent version of stim berries for better stamina. But in the early on stages, when you're an early level, having them equipped is very, very useful, especially if you're trying to run away from dinos or enemy players. The next tip is to do with the clothes. It looks like the cloth clothes don't do much, but they do provide some armor, so it's worth taking them and wearing them as soon as possible, and they give you a slight advantage over any other new spawns who haven't bothered to pick them up. Also, another tip, the hat, boots and gloves are also worth making. They might not look like they're doing much, but they provide you with more insulation, so they stop you feeling the effects of the heat and the cold, which can sometimes dehydrate you or drain your stamina. Now crafting items is a very easy way to gain XP. Considering a torch only requires 1 wood, 1 flint and 1 stone, it's a very good way of getting easy XP. So just fill up on those materials when you're a low level, double click the torch in the crafting menu as many times as you can, and then watch the XP bar grow. This can be very useful when at a low level wanting to rank up really quickly. Once you're at a higher level, rank 10 and upwards, this might not be so useful, but I found if I was a very low level, 1 or 2 on a fresh spawn server, that I could make torches very quickly and get up the first few ranks very quickly, and much quicker than you would be able to normally. Next tip is about the toolbar. Once an item has been added to your toolbar once, you can quickly make another one by pressing left shift and the number on the hotbar that relates to what you want to craft. Now to find out what is needed to craft it without going into your inventory, just hold down the number on the hotbar that corresponds to what it is that you're trying to make. As a fresh spawn, the easiest way to get meat is probably from fish. They have very low health, very easy to catch, so they don't fight back. Dodos are also pretty easy, but be a little bit careful when you're a fresh spawn, because in a large group, sometimes they can do a little bit of damage and they will all attack you at once if you attack one of their friends. DILOS again are those little mini raptors, and they're very easy to knock out, especially with 2 or 3 catapults, but even if you don't have that, you can knock them unconscious and then tame as a fresh spawn, although they will require meat, which can be a little bit more difficult to get from berries, but a good idea, get a load of meat from nearby fishes, knock out a DILO, and then you can tame that to become your own, and very early on you're going to have a nice little dino helping you out with everything that you're trying to do. Another good tip is to get into the habit of tapping E while you're running around. This won't slow you down at all, and it'll allow you to grab extra berries, stones and fibre, which can be very useful later on when crafting, taming or even eating. Without doing this, you might not have a good amount of berries when you want to get a random tame going on or something, but if you've been doing this when you run around, all of a sudden you'll find that you've got a ton of berries or maybe fibre for clothes in your inventory, and you'll be able to make them really quickly. Another quick little tip is if you run out of stamina and you don't have any stim berries on you, press X to lie down and don't move. As long as you're lying down and still, your stamina will replenish very, very quickly. So let's talk about something a little more complicated. Time to talk about food. Now, one piece of cooked meat will regen 20 points of food. When you start the game, your stomach can hold up to 100 points of food. Now, when stationary, your character will use 0.4 points of food per minute. And this can go up to 1.2 points of food if you're running around or using a weapon. So if we average this out, you're probably going to use about 0.8 units of food per minute. That means that 5 pieces of meat can keep your character going for roughly 2 hours. Now, bear in mind, if you've got cooked meat, it can spoil, and 1 piece of cooked meat will spoil every 20 minutes. So try and stack as many as possible, because this only counts if they are stacked. Say you've got a stack of 20 cooked meat, only 1 of them will spoil after 20 minutes. But if for some reason you've got them in various stacks of 1, all of them will spoil after 20 minutes. So try and stack your meat into as big a piles as possible. Now, when it comes to building a base, at the very early levels, it's going to be very tempting to build yourself a thatch base, but I would highly recommend against doing this if you plan on keeping anything decent in there or even expanding on it. Just one man with 1 hatchet can break down a thatch wall in under a minute, so it's a very dangerous idea. If you're going to do that, be aware that your base is very vulnerable. Something else I've noticed is that the axe will do more damage to buildings than the pickaxe. Now, I don't know if this correlates to actual dinos as well, but you'd have to presume it probably does. So, although I don't know this for certain, I haven't seen the damage stats or anything, but this would indicate that the axe will do more damage than the pick. So you might want to take out the axe if you're going to be hitting dinos or enemies with it. Tip number 21, going to be going a bit in depth on this one, but it's a very, very important one. It's about taming. Now, if you want to tame a dinosaur, you've simply got to knock it unconscious. This can be done with either your fists or a catapult. At later levels, you'll be able to do it with arrows tipped with narcotics, but we're generally talking about early on survival tips here. So you're going to be knocking dinos out with fists or catapults. Now, when you're at a low level, some of the best dinosaurs that you can probably knock out with your fists are the Phiomia, which is the hippo looking thing, the Dilo, which is the small mini raptor that spits at you, and the Parasaur, which is the slightly bigger one that's almost like got the longer legs. It's a little bit bigger, but it's a herbivore and it's not that dangerous. You can try and get that one, although the Parasaur can be difficult to knock out sometimes as it sprints away. So you're going to have to see if you can get it cornered into a rock or something, or get it stuck on something, and then it might be easier to knock out. Now, once your dino is knocked out, it will have an unconscious level that will slowly deplete. Once this dips below around 50%, any animal may wake up, although it's much less likely that they're going to wake up at under 25%. So you need to keep this unconscious level high. So to tame the animal, you're going to need to put the right kind of food inside of it. So you need to work out if it's a herbivore or a carnivore. This is easily worked out by one of 2 things. If it attacks you on its own without any antagonizing, then it's a carnivore and you're going to need to feed it meat. If it's something that only attacks you in self-defense, then it's a carnivore and you're going to need to put berries inside of it. Now, you can start off your tame with a very high effectiveness if you put the right kind of meat or berries inside of the dinosaur at the start. Now, there's not that much information around at the moment about which kind of dinosaurs provide which kind of meat or berries. However, you can work this out with your friends, or if there is a list up to date, I'll try and put it in the description below. For instance, if you go up to a herbivore and start taming it, whichever berries that it eats first are the ones that it likes the most. So once you know that information, next time you go to tame that kind of dinosaur, make sure you put those berries in there first, and then it's going to be a much more effective tame. Now, once a tame has started, if the dino eats all of its inventory, the tame will reset, so it's important to keep it full. Most of the time you're going to need to keep the dino unconscious for longer than it normally would be as well to tame it. So you're going to need to increase its unconscious level. To do this, you put narco berries inside of it, or narcotics if you've got those, but again, we're talking about early level stuff here, so you're probably just going to have narco berries. Put them in its inventory and click remotely use item. Each time you do this, this will add 8 torpor level to the dino. With this in mind, only use as much as the dino will use. For instance, if the dino only needs 40 torpor points to get to full unconsciousness, then only use 5 berries. Any extra used will just be wasted. You can also increase the dino's knocked out unconscious level by punching it, but be careful not to kill it. The dino's health bar displays when you stand next to it, so be very careful when doing this that it's not on low health already when you're punching it, or you might end up killing it. Now, some dinos that are relatively easy to knock out can take a long time to tame. Because of this, you might change your mind halfway through a tame, you might get a bit bored and think I'm just going to move on. So before you actually kill the animal that you're trying to tame, make sure you take whatever was in its inventory out, otherwise you'll just lose it. Now, as much as you can, you want to be in a member of a tribe. This is very useful for lots of reasons. You share XP for doing general tasks. It makes it easier to kill and tame a lot of the bigger dinosaurs in a group. But beware, anyone in your tribe will be able to not only access your dinos, but also the doors of any buildings or any bases that you've built. Now, if a member of your tribe places a bed, all of the members of the tribe will be able to spawn at that bed. There is, however, a 5-minute cooldown period, so if you all die out on an adventure, you're going to have to wait a while until you can all respawn at the same location, but it's well worth doing. A very easy way to get all of your teammates in the same area, especially if someone's just logging on, they can log on at your bed, and if you're around there, easy times, and you can find each other very simply. Number 25, a kind of obvious tip, but once you've got to the point when your dinosaur is tamed and you've got it helping you out, make sure that you rank it up. You can rank it up by doing all kinds of things, like allowing it to attack low-level dinos like DILOS, Dodos and Fiomas. And when your dino levels up, you can increase its stats such as stamina, weight bearing, speed. So it's very much worth taking your dinos out with you, but be very careful. Make sure that you don't let them attack things that are going to kill them. Now, there's going to be some more tips from me. We're going to talk about some higher level stuff next time, about how to properly take control of your dinos in big groups and how to do irrigation systems to build things, narcotics, drugs and all that kind of stuff. This game has so much end game kind of stuff you can do that it's very deep and complicated. So I think it's an absolute ton of fun, this game. It's not very well optimized at the moment, but if you can get over that, you can get some decent FPS. I think it's one of the best survival games out there at the moment. I think it's got a ton of potential. So I'm really enjoying this game so far. Make sure you smash the like button as well if you enjoyed these tips, you found them useful. I like to take the time to try and write a script to make this as concise as possible without waffling on too much and all that kind of stuff. Make sure you smash that like button as well, guys, if you did enjoy it, and make sure you're subscribed. If you're not subscribed here, subscribe already. Let me know in the comment section down below any other things to do with this game you'd like some tips on as well. Maybe some of the higher tier stuff that you just want to see. I've got a server with some friends so we can test out all kinds of things that you might be wondering, almost like a what do you call it, like is it true thing, like a Mythbusters version of ARK. We can try that out. So let us know any stuff you want to know in the comment section down below, guys, and that's it for now. I will see you next time.